Jeff and myself decided the only way we could see our future was to do our own thing. So we did leave the company, which was not taken very well by my father. And it took 2 years before we spoke again.
Foster, it's a pleasure to see you again. You really intrigue me. Anybody starting a business really intrigues me. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I started when I was 17, and I own several companies now, but my main one is Crown, that makes cookware and bakeware products. So manufacturing is in my blood. And I love the way you call yourself a shoemaker. Such a humble approach. And so it begs the question, at least in my mind, is that a reflection of your personality, in that you still call yourself a shoemaker today when you introduced yourself at the New York conference? And is that you that humble a man?
I think it's one of those things when you reflect back upon your journey, and you think what you did and what other people did, and how good a lot of other people are as part of your team, that you reflect on it and think, yes, I got lucky. We found a good name. We managed to get our product onto the market. We managed to get to America. We managed to scale our business to become, in the mid to late 1980s, to become the #1 global sports footwear producer. So Reebok became #1, and I think I've been very lucky. So I couldn't imagine for 1 minute that I could sit back and say, I did that. No, we did that. We did that. And I mean, I've got to be indebted to so many people who had so many brilliant ideas that slotted in so well with the Reebok culture, the Reebok brand, and the personality. So it is something that you share. I think that being the founder makes me an extremely lucky man, and I'm extremely fortunate to meet people like you and a lot of other people who now know the brand.
Well, it certainly sounds like you're honest. You're an honest, down to earth man, and I really respect that. Some people let it get to their heads, and they say success is a reflection of the real person you are. And so I must congratulate you on that, for being such a nice man. I love the way you share the success with all your people, because that's why it's called a company. It's not one person. It's a group of people that create an organization. But it always starts with one, in your case, two. And you started with your brother, God bless him, Jeff.
Yes.
And it was interesting how first you and Jeff worked together at a J.W. Foster company, your grandfather's company.
That's
if
correct.
I'm correct.
Yes.
Yes. And that then you left on your own, the two of you. And this is family. And I have a family business. And sometimes, there could be a little animosity, a little rift. Was there any rift, or did you and your brother have full family support on going onto your own in another shoe business?
Oh no, it was it was a big rift, a big one. My grandfather started the J.W. Foster. He founded J.W. Foster in 1895. He invented the spike running shoe, and he built himself a business which he established in 1900. He died in 1933. I wasn't born until 1935. By that time, his two sons, my uncle and my father, were running the business. Obviously, my grandfather, he had a tremendous business. He knew how to influence He had world records in 1904. He had gold medals in 1908, and it progressed from there.
Wow.
But his sons took over that business, and unfortunately, they didn't like each other. they just feuded. They just fought, and they had two separate businesses. My uncle continued with the hand-sewn quality, and my father he turned more to volume and some machinery to manufacture. But they just didn't talk. And Jeff and myself, we both did national service, and national service took us away from the business for 2 years, gave us a bit more self-sufficient. We learned to look after ourselves a lot more. We learned a lot, and we came back to the company. And when we came back, it was very obvious the company was failing. And I tried to convince my father we should do something, but I don't know. He'd been through 2 world wars, whether he just lost any interest in doing in a business as such, as against just making a living. But he didn't listen. And so Jeff and myself decided the only way we could see our future was to do our own thing. So we did leave the company, which was not taken very well by my father. And it took 2 years before we spoke again. But he did he did recognize in the end that we had started to succeed where the J.W. Foster business failed. And 2 years after we had, Jeff and myself had started Reebok, the J.W. Foster business did fail.
Oh, wow. Wow. You know, there's a saying that I learned a long time ago that the grandfather starts the business and brings it to a great level. The next generation holds it or loses it, but the grandchildren, if the business survives, will take it up and away, or if they do, like in your case, you had a new birth of a new company. So you did take it away, and you epitomize that, you and your brother, of course. And you know, it's interesting. It's really interesting. Do you hold? So you never met your grandfather, but do you hold a special place in your heart for him?
Well, I guess I do, because he died, I say, in 1933. I was born in 1935, but I was born on his birthday.
Oh, wow. May something, I believe.
18th of May. Yes,
May 18th.
18th. And because of that, I was sort of given his name. He was Joseph William. I am Joseph William. So
that's right.
I am Joe. And maybe I inherited his DNA somewhere. Maybe there's something in there.
Well, you know, I always believe that there's a lot more going on in life than just DNA. That DNA is one part, but sometimes because you have shared his name, maybe you got some other special powers, that ingenious shoe design. But I want to jump to the name. I read that you and your brother came up with the name from an animal that you found in the dictionary.
Right.
Like, I thought that was crazy because it sounds so wonderful, the name. I always liked it. It made sense.
But there is a story to that. And if you read the book, you can have it in full. But essentially, in 1943, when I was 8, that's 80 years ago, during World War II, like with COVID, you couldn't go anywhere. But they had local events. I won a local event, a 60-yard race. I won it. And my prize was a dictionary, an American dictionary, which was a Webster's American Dictionary.
Yes.
And when we were looking for a new name in 1960, I had my dictionary there that I won. And I opened it at the letter R because I liked the letter R. And very soon I came across Reebok. Reebok, a small South African gazelle. So, and we were a running company. So a gazelle, perfect. That's where we got our name.
That's genius. That's genius. You know, today, I don't think people appreciate dictionaries. I have one that I've had since grade 9, and it's Collins. Isn't that a British dictionary?
It is Collins, yes, yes.
Yes, and that's because me being Canadian,
Right.
we speak the Queen's English to a much more degree, at least, than the Americans do. So,
True.
but I keep that dictionary, even though I got Google and everything else going on. I keep that dictionary because to me, there's still something about a paper book. And anyways, I just love that story about you picking up a dictionary and doing that with your family. Once they realized you and your brother were being successful, did they really come to terms? Like, was it back to like 20 years before, good relationships, or was there's always a little bit of a um elephant in the room, so to speak?
Mhm. Well, it's I think once my father realized that the J.W. Foster Company was dead, was gone, I think he realized that we knew something and he hadn't worked on it. I think he was more he was more sad about his not really coming with us in the first place, understanding that we needed to do this. So the relationship was quite good. I'd always been a bit difficult as far as my father was concerned, and and if you read the book, he wanted me to be a runner, to be an athlete, and I didn't like running. I just didn't like running, and because the first page of my book, I've got 2 confessions. One is I hate running, and the other one is I'm a lousy shoemaker.
Well, I haven't had the pleasure of reading your book. It's on my list. I have 2 more books I wanted to finish, and yours is next. So that's excellent, and I look forward to reading it. Um, and I think we're running low on time, but I really appreciate your time that you've offered to me today and divulging your wholeheartedness about Reebok and the wonderful company you and your brother and your whole team created.
That's right. Well, thank you for that, David. And yes, it takes a team. Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's the same thing. The company is your child, and it takes a whole village to raise that. It takes a lot of people.
It takes a team to build a business. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Wise words.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Yes, and I hope you enjoy the book when you do read it.
Oh, well, I love reading. My favorite books I discovered when I was younger, I hated reading. And then as I got older, I realized I wasn't reading books I liked. School gives you books, they give you whatever book, and I wasn't interested in it. And then I tripped on a business book and I read it from cover to cover. And then I started reading business books, and I find autobiographies or stories were my favorite and are still. I always learn to respect my elders, first of all, and learn from them because they hold the secrets to the future because they've lived a life, you know. And I really hold a lot of respect, and I'm going to take as much as I can from what you have taught us today on this video and what you've shared with us.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure. It has, and I have many friends in America who are Canadian, from Toronto.
Yes.
All of them seem to come from Toronto.